put my hands out so I know where to cut.
You starting now?
Yeah, I'm going to start now.
Okay.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Chris Anderson Comics. I am here with J.A. Cartoons. How you doing, man?
Hey, Chris. How you doing?
I'm doing good. So we're going to talk about your new book, Turtle Soup, which is like a bootleg love letter to the Ninja Turtles. I love a good bootleg, as most people know, because I have my Masters of the Universe bootlegs that I give out as gifts to people on my Patreon. That, you know, the whole reason that I did them was because I wanted to start writing my own stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, well, where do I start doing that? And I was like, well, I'm just going to go back to when I was a kid, playing with my toys, making my own stories. Then, you know, it was the same thing. I'm just an adult now and I can polish them up. And, you know, I'm going to start by just really playing in the world that I played in when I was a kid. And that's how that came about. And it seems to me that you sort of followed the same path when you decided to do Turtle Soup. Am I off base?
Kind of.
Okay.
Like this started with me being out there in Pennsylvania, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like me and my folks, we both have we all have a place in PA, and we all take turns going back over there and watching after it, cutting the grass and
Sure.
Maintenance in the house. And I was stuck there, and I didn't have a vehicle, and I couldn't leave the town. It's a small town in PA called Hummelstown. It sits between Harrisburg and Hershey. And you cannot walk across the road to go to a market because there's this huge interstate there. So you're stuck. I'm stuck in this little town that has a 7-Eleven, a pizza shop across the street. It's not much to do, and there's a CVS store. So it's like, oh man, this would be a good place to do like a project.
Yeah.
Knock it out. I have to be over there for like a month or 3 months there fixing up things. So it's like, let me do some turtle stuff. And I didn't have any supplies, so I walked down to a CVS store and seen what they had. They had like markers. So I just used that. Come back home, did like a pin-up of the Ninja Turtles. It's like an homage to the first page from issue 1 where they're up against the wall.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, all right, that turned out pretty cool. I was like, how about an old story? Like with the action figures. And I remember me playing with the action figures, coming up with their own. Yeah, that's it right there.
There we go.
And I came up with that. I was like, villains versus the good guys. All the good guys that I liked from my childhood, the figures that I wanted and the figures that I had.
Yeah.
And then the figures that I had and the figures that I wanted for the bad guys, and just line them all up. I was like, okay, long panel, and then from there, I drew that first long panel, and I was like, okay, I have to have the turtles on the other side, and showing Raphael, showing all their attitudes, right?
Sure.
Hothead, Mikey's the jokester, Donatello's kind of he's kind of a little serious.
Yeah.
And Leonardo didn't, he's the leader.
Right.
So taking charge. He's about to tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Football stance.
Yeah, I remember these. These were like a wave or two in, right? When they came out with like the trench coat version and the football and like the rapper guy and the space one.
Cadet Raph. That was my favorite one. Actually, no. My favorite was the Donatello, Incognito Donatello.
Uh-huh.
Michelangelo's my favorite, but that figure is my favorite, actually.
Yeah.
Because it reminded me of the movies.
Yeah.
He wasn't all decked out. He was still a turtle. But he had a coat and a top hat, and I was like, oh, this is so cool. A little knife in his pocket.
Yeah. Because, you could totally walk around on the streets being a turtle and no one would notice.
Yeah. Right? In New York City? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so this story is like, like it is the action figures. And they're just like going at it. You got like Mikey with his fake gun here. He came with that, right?
Donatello, yeah,
Oh yeah,
he came with the. I didn't know this at the time as a kid because I probably lost it. I just
yeah,
wanted the figure,
right.
but doing research for him, like looking up all these figures and what they do. Yeah, he has like a little funny gun,
Yeah,
like a little, one of those Joker
yeah,
guns.
yeah.
But it's not like you can. It's not something where you can click the gun and the thing comes out. It's just like that.
It was
It's just
always out, right? Yeah,
plastic.
yeah,
And
because they couldn't like really probably give him a a real gun. And actually, maybe at the time they could, but
no, April O'Neil had a gun.
yeah, right.
He had a gun that was a camera, I think.
Right. But maybe they just were like, well, the turtles don't use guns. So
Oh
they
no,
use ninja weapons.
they got the Space Cadet Raph. He had a space gun.
I was like just on that edge of being like too old to play with
Oh,
toys when the toys came out.
yeah,
But I did have Baxter for sure.
I had him too. He was so
Yeah.
with the extra arms,
Yeah.
that were attached to wings.
Yeah, I got all the weird toys that were out around then. Like I remember I had Baxter and I had like the Violator from the Spawn line because he was just so weird. He had like a head on his forearm.
Wait, the Violet when he's the clown,
When
or
he's the clown, yeah, and he's got like a million guns on his shoulders.
yeah.
It's like what is this? I need this. Yeah, this is great.
But I remember hunting for these things as a kid, and I always went for the turtle variant. I didn't have very much villains because they
Is that
had
right?
so many different versions of the turtles, and I was like, oh, like I got to get a Bebop, and I was like, no, there's a new turtle that
Yeah.
can go underwater and
Yeah.
spit water out of his mouth, and I was like, oh, that's cool. That's like the movie
Yeah.
with Donatello. They dunk his head into a fish tank and you yank him out and he spits out water into a Foot Clan.
That's awesome. Yeah, those animatronic heads didn't age well. They're pretty terrifying now.
Oh man, yeah, they made like a whole action figure line of one of those things. Like,
Did they have the
yeah,
were the
Michael.
eyes peeled open?
Yeah, he's like a mummy, a decaying mummy.
Oh
And
man,
one of the faces is like a bulging eyeball from one of
that's
those
awesome.
on the internet.
The Turtlemobile too. It's so cool.
Yes. Oh man, that was my brother's.
He had the Turtlemobile.
Yeah, he's like a couple of years older than me. So when I was born into turtles. He already had them.
Yeah, you already had them ready to go, huh?
Yeah, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna play with these.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, I would play, and that's what that last panel is.
Right.
That's my brother. We would play action figures all day.
I love it. Yeah, I got to this last panel and I was like, oh man, everybody can relate to that.
Yeah. Like,
It's so cool.
Casey Jones, man. I wish I did more with him. I remember getting that figure going like, he's just a dude, and he's got sweatpants, and they're like all ripped. I remember looking at it, I was like, look at the detail. These sweatpants are all ripped up. And what I love about him is he's supposed to be the adult, right? But he's just crazy as the craziest turtle.
Yeah. Yeah, he was like a psycho. He's even got a Jason mask, It's like, what? Cool.
That's like homage to the Kendrick Lamar album.
That's awesome. I love how your style changes throughout here too.
Oh yeah, I was used for those action figure story, the Playmates.
Mm-hmm.
I did most of those with like ballpoint pens, and then when my hand started to hurt, I was like, the hell with this. I'm just going to go to Amazon and order some microns.
Yeah.
Most of it's microns, and there's some brush like Baxter's hair.
Yeah, and like I see his back here and stuff.
Like Baxter Stockman's hair, I did some brushing with that, close-ups, and then the faraway stuff, I just did microns, like especially with the open panel.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see it in the work.
Like I did those pages, and then I did that first story, and I put it away, and I went back to Florida, and my friend Ryan was like, "Hey, like he called me out in a different post. He's like, "What's up with that Turtle Soup bootleg comic book?" I was like, oh, in my head, I'm like, I wasn't planning to do a book. I was just like getting it out of my
Yeah.
system. I was like, oh, okay, bootleg. Yeah, yeah, okay, bootleg comic. All right. And when I came back to Pennsylvania, I think it was in 2003, I finished inking that book, and I started with that dam
Hmm.
up and the mutagen rebel. I started doing stories like over there again, and I was using brush instead of like
Yeah.
micron.
Yeah. Yeah, I can tell it's all brush, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that quality. I like seeing the difference between the micron stuff
Hmm.
over to the brushwork. It's wild how just a little tool shift can change things so much.
Like
So
that one.
this one's just like a short little story, right?
Yeah, I wanted to do like because I was thinking of different. This is an anthology turtle book. I was trying to think of different stories, and I
Yeah.
wanted one page that was like an homage to the Archie stuff.
Hmm.
I also wanted to make my own figure, my own little Ninja Turtle figure. So I was like, huh, what if a greaser from New Jersey, Ninja Turtle? Mom was like, oh, what if they're all like weirdo greaser people from New Jersey? You have like a bully bebop, a varsity bebop, and a
Yeah,
bully
yeah, yeah.
steady, and they're like in a diner, and freaking what's his name? Casey Jones is a fry cook.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, okay, that's a great idea. Let me jot that down. I do like a thumbnail of it,
Right.
and I wanted to make it look like the layout of a Bill Watterson uh, newspaper strip.
Oh, okay. I can see that.
Like he would do like these cool, like Picasso, like cubist looking layouts. And I was like,
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah,
trying
where
to
they jitter and you got to open here and
they connect, so
yeah.
he did that so he can make space because they were shrinking his comic strip.
Right. Right, exactly. And then the next story before I flip the page, like people of a certain age can remember, when you would go to,
The
you
90% story.
you'd be at like Target, and Target would have or whatever would have like the real toys.
Yeah.
But then you would like your mom would have to make a stopover at like Walgreens or something, and you'd go in there and the toys in there were all jank, right? They were like all bootleg knockoffs from like some other country was making these bootleg knockoffs, and they were like just adjacent to the ones that you'd buy in the store, but you didn't want those because that's not the Turtles, that's not He-Man. But
Mine was,
now they're like the most sought after toys, right?
oh yeah, people love them.
So so
Man,
you came up with Heroes of the World Tortugas.
that's like a blend of different versions of Ninja Turtle bootleg action figures. There's one called Turturgas something, and then there was another one called Heroes of the World, and it was like
Uh-huh.
janky looking Ninja Turtles that look like they give you cancer if you touch them.
Yeah, totally. You
And
got
I
Terror.
combined all of them, you know, to make this team. But those names were
Terricos,
real.
Secundos, you got Fighter, just Fighter, and Brian.
That one's mine. I made that one up, Brian. The other ones are real.
But I could have totally seen like they would have taken some sort of figure who's just a guy, painted it green, and called it Turtles of the World or something,
They have stuff like
you
that.
know. And then you got this guy here too, which is a battle ready muscle man with sword.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember going to the 99-cent store and seeing like knockoff GI Joes, and they wouldn't have a name; it'd just be called like Action Man or
Yeah. Or
Man
like,
with a Gun.
yeah, Fighter, Rifleman.
Yeah,
So that's a really cool one. And then you go into this story that's like this news broadcast, and I love how you did it black and white. You did almost like this faux duotone and these dots on it and stuff.
Yeah,
Uh,
I was like I was saying, I was just sitting in this house trying to come up how to fill in this book and make it cool with
yeah.
cool stories. And sometimes I would have music on in the background or TV shows.
Hmm.
And I had what was I watching the other day? I was watching Unsolved Mysteries,
Yeah.
like the old one with Robert Stacks.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would be cool if there was like a story of what happened in the first issue. Like there was a witness to that,
Yeah.
and they played it out in reenactments and all that stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, I got to do this.
Yeah.
So that
I
come
love
up.
that idea. I love how it says in the beginning, turtles, they're cute, shelled little creatures you find in a mom and pop pet shop, or killers that dwell underneath the New York sewers. And the funny thing is like for a long time, I remember there was like a lot of stuff in the media about like, do not buy those baby turtles for your kids because
Yeah.
they'll put them in their mouth and get salmonella and die, you
What?
know? And so,
I thought you meant like they'll flush them down the toilet, they'll become like
yeah.
problems, eating monsters.
No, but there was like a rash of like news, like media things about that for a time in like the
Oh,
2000s. I remember, especially like living in LA, because you could go downtown and people just have tubs of like little baby turtles to sell to kids,
really?
and it was like it was dangerous because you put it, if you put that in your mouth, you're gonna get sick, you know.
Get them a toy.
Yeah, this thing's alive. You got to take care of it, you know. Um, yeah, so it's like this cool unsolved mysteries. Is it for real? Killer turtles from the sewers. And so yeah, he goes through and he starts interviewing these people and of these moments. I love it, like this reenactment. And then you like even like at times you like age the paper.
Hmm.
You know, and they go to this girl who's like wants to be, you know, anonymous, so she's like in the shadow.
Yeah, yeah.
Here, like where you like made the paper like like something you got greasy fingers on it. That's great. Here, get over here. Sorry. Dogs walking on my comics.
Oh, what is she or he?
She's a here, I'll grab her. She is a 18-year-old Chihuahua Shiba Inu mix
Oh, hey, my
with one
neighbor.
tooth, and she's blind. Hi, and she just woke up. You can eat some food. Go eat some
Oh,
food.
turtles.
Yeah. um. Yeah, I love the story. And then she talks about how Shredder came down and he was like a cheese grater. You mentioned, there you go. And like he had muscles close to Hulk Hogan and Rambo combined. So, you know, very much of the time.
Yeah.
And yeah, they start taking him, and then he's like, the following scenes contain egregious amounts of blood and guts. Viewer discretion advised. And you just like in some sort of anime, he just like parts just start falling off of him. Like kind of like what happened, you know? Yeah, this is great. I love all this stuff. And then you even go to the bars at the end, no signal.
It was fun making that.
Yeah, it had to be. And then you got this like little story at the end that kind of retells the origin story of them.
Yeah,
This is like the cartoon version.
that's the card back.
Oh,
On
the
the back
card.
action figures, there's these little. It's a little story up there. And
Oh,
I remember looking at that as a kid, going, "Oh
I
man,
remember that.
cool. It looks like it almost looks like a little kid made it.
Yeah,
It looks like it was done in marker." And I remember just always having that in my head. I like the way it was drawn, the simplicity of the lines. And I was like, "Oh, I want to recreate that." And I did my own version of it. Just beefed it up a little bit.
yeah. Because in this version, it's like Shredder gets him by pouring the ooze on purpose on him, and he turns into a rat. Not the rat turns into the person. And then
But
you got
I added some more to the story. This is where I did like my own thing. That was just more like the other page was more like a recreation
sure.
of the card back, but this was just like a continuance. But it does have like all the the text is taken straight from the card back.
Oh, is that right?
Hmm.
That's cool. The big cheese leader. That's great. Well, that's so cool. And this is the final pinup. That's awesome. So right now, as of the recording of this, so this will probably come out in like a couple weeks,
Okay.
like 2, 3 weeks. Right now, this is sold out, right?
Yes, this is sold out. Like
But
this version of this book, like I have the first print run. This is the second print run right here.
okay,
First print run's got the cover shredder on there, and that's sold out. And then this is the second print run, and it's got the homage to the first issue, but all the action figures on there. Now I have the third one that's coming out, and it's like, I'm not gonna say anything. I'll post about it on my socials, but I have my buddy Ryan doing the color work on it right now.
nice.
Like he
Okay,
worked on this cover right here, and I told him, "Hey, you want to take a shot at this?" And he was like, "Okay, yeah, yeah." He's even doing the logo. He's a really really cool guy.
awesome. Well, it's a great book, man.
Thank you.
So if people want to get it, they should keep an eye out on like your socials, which I'll post in the
It's
show notes, right?
it's right at the back of that page, the end of that pinup at the last. Yeah, it's right there.
There we go. And I'll also put it in the show notes
Yeah.
and a link to your store too.
Thank you. I
Um,
appreciate it.
yeah, of course. And so yeah, keep your eye out for when the next version comes out. I mean, it may even be out by the time this comes on. Who knows? But yeah, man. JA Cartoons, man. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing this book with me, sharing your love for the toys when you were a kid. I 1,000% get it. I'm right there with you doing the same kind of stuff, just having fun with it. I love to see it, and I can't wait to see what you come out with next, man. You just keep going, you know.
I will. Thank
All
you
right.
for having me on here.
Yeah, of course. Please, anytime you want to come back, talk anything that you're working on, just let me know, okay?
I've seen your He-Man stuff you posted. That is really cool.
Thanks, dude. Yeah, I have so much fun doing it. It's just like I've got a million projects that I'm working on at any given time. So it's just like it's something fun for me to put in there,
Get it. Get
in the in-between moments that I get. So I like to do it. Maybe one day I'll get to do an official He-Man book, but until then, I'm just gonna play around in the universe.
That's the dream, man. Just keep
That's
doing
right.
it. Maybe they'll see it.
Yeah,
Same
man.
with this, I just do what I love. They want it, cool. Just please
Exactly.
don't shut me down, please.
Right. Yeah. Please don't. All right, man. Well, thanks for so much for coming on. Where do they find you on the internet?
You can find me on Instagram and on Facebook.
Okay.
My Instagram is JA Cartoons with an S, and then my Facebook is JA Cartoons with a Z.
Okay. And I'll make sure to get it, like I said, in the show notes. And again, man, just thank you so much for coming on.
No problem, man. Thank you.
All right. We'll talk to you later.
All right, bye.
Bye. Join my Patreon to see my work before anyone else, plus score physical sketchbooks, mini comics, and commissions delivered right to your door, and reading my new books, Something Seems Off and Three-Headed Pigman, as they are made. Go to my website to order original art, commissions, and my books, Lost Angels, Spectral: A Showcase of Fear, Chaotic Neutral, and more. Gray Matter Drip, The Art of Chris Anderson, is available now from Cosmic Lion Productions. Here are the upcoming conventions I'll be at the time of this recording. And don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe. It helps spread the word. Thanks.